Hey guys, what's going on? It's Coach Callum. So today I want to do a really short video just about the difference between something containing a macronutrient like protein, carbohydrates, and fat, and something being a good source of one of those macronutrients, so protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So this is just a common misconception, and one that I often deal with clients when we start talking about things like, did you get, are we getting enough protein in your diet? Let's use that one as an example. And a lot of the time people will say like, yeah, I get tons of protein. I eat, some nuts, and I have like peanut butter on my bagel in the morning, and I have some yogurt, and while all of these are sources of protein, as in they have protein in them, that is not the main component that you're getting from these foods. And it's really important to understand that difference, because if you think that you're getting, I'm getting tons of protein from my diet, and I'm getting tons of protein from nuts, and I'm getting tons of protein from yogurt, while it is true that you are getting protein from these, there's a big difference between like getting tons of protein or a food being a good protein source versus it just containing some. So especially things like nuts. Nuts are, yes, they do contain protein, but a quarter cup of nuts is going to have something like 2 to 4 grams of protein in it, but that same quarter cup is actually going to have like 14 grams of fat, right? And it's going to have something like 6 to 8 grams of carbohydrates. So when you're talking about that as a protein source, it's like, yes, it contains 4 grams of protein, but in order to get those 4 grams of protein, it's got to come along with 8 grams of carbohydrates and 14 grams of fat. So what we want to do when we're looking at that food is we want to try and figure out, like, okay, if I think I'm getting protein, but what I'm actually getting is predominantly fat, then it's important to note that, okay, this is not a protein, this is not really a protein source, this is a fat source, right? So when we're trying to look at what our diet contains, we want to make sure that we're designating the food that we're eating in the right spot. So if we want to have, a diet that's got a lot of protein in it, a moderate amount of fat, and a moderate amount of carbohydrates, if we're trying to get the bulk of our protein from something that contains more fat and carbohydrates than protein, we're not really getting what we need here. We're going to be getting a lot more of stuff we don't need, even though our intention was to get, this, right? So our intention was to get more protein. We thought we were doing the right thing. Unfortunately, what actually ended up happening was we got a ton more fat and carbohydrates and like baggage with the thing that we were actually trying to get. So nuts are great. I'm not saying don't eat nuts. I'm just saying know that when you're eating nuts, what you're actually eating is a fat source. You're not eating a protein source. And this is sort of the same thing with things like yogurt. So when we're eating yogurt, again, there's nothing wrong with yogurt. If you digest it well and your stomach feels good when you eat yogurt, go for it. I'm all on board with you eating yogurt. But it's important to note, like for, let's say your yogurt, if you're eating like Greek yogurt, for example, like 15 grams of protein in 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt is terrific, right? It's important to understand that that's going to come along with 15 grams of carbohydrates that are predominantly from like lactose, right? Right? Yeah. No, it is. So you're getting, about as much carbohydrates as you are protein. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It is important to note that when we're eating this for our protein, that we're also getting this on the other end, right? So just understand that when you're eating food, your food will usually contain more than one of those macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And if you're trying to get more protein in your diet without bringing on a lot of other stuff, then you're going to want to choose, sources that don't contain a lot of other stuff. So that's going to be... Guys, thank you so much for watching. I know nutrition can be a little bit confusing, so all I'm trying to do with these videos is just make sure that you're understanding sort of the basics. So if you have any questions and you want to, to pitch an idea for a future episode, or honestly, if you need clarification on something, just throw up a comment or send us an email. I'm going to leave the address that you can reach us at just in the content or the the blurb, whatever it is below. If you got something useful out of this, please remember to like the video and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to invite a friend or share it with somebody that needs to hear this, please do it. It means the world to us. So again, thanks so much for joining, and I will see you next time.